Hello everyone, I'm Darren Magee, and today I'm going to be continuing in the short series looking into the fascinating yet often disturbing world of the Dark Tetrad. Now, the Dark Tetrad is a framework in psychology that describes four distinct but related personality traits that are often associated with malevolent behaviours. Those traits include narcissism, psychopathy, Machiavellianism and sadism. People with Dark Tetrad traits often create environments and relationships that are based on fear, conflict and instability. Now, in previous podcasts, I'd looked at sadism and Machiavellianism if you want to check those out for more information. This time, I'm going to be focusing on the element of psychopathy and how it intertwines with those other traits. But I would like to say that while these traits can coexist in some individuals, the presence and degree of each trait can vary widely and often leading to different patterns of behaviour. So just to give a brief overview of those traits, with narcissism, well, this is often marked by a huge sense of entitlement. There's a need for admiration. There's being disagreeable, being highly resistant to criticism, and having a lack of empathy for other people. Machiavellianism is defined by being manipulative, being duplicitous. There is strategic thinking, but it's more a focus on self-interest and deception. And regardless of how they manipulate and cheat, they believe the end justifies the means. Sadism involves deriving pleasure from inflicting pain and humiliation on others, and sadism can manifest in three ways. There's physical, verbal, or vicarious, which involves seeing others in pain and distress, whether they caused it or not. And lastly, which is the topic for today, psychopathy. And this is characterized by impulsivity, a lack of empathy, and antisocial behaviours. There's being callous, having a disregard for the well-being and safety of others, and having a lack of remorse. Now, psychopathy is often depicted in movies and TV shows as the most extreme form of antisocial behaviour. It's often associated with serial killers and ruthless criminals. However, it is important to note that psychopathy exists on a spectrum, and not all individuals with psychopathic traits engage in violent or criminal behaviour. But psychopathy is generally characterized by two main factors. There's interpersonal and affective traits, and this includes superficial charm, grandiosity, and a lack of remorse or guilt. Then there's lifestyle and antisocial traits, and this includes impulsivity, poor behavioral control, and a tendency towards boredom and irresponsibility. So what happens when psychopathy is present with the other elements of the Dark Tetrad? Well, firstly, while narcissists crave admiration and recognition, psychopaths tend to be more focused on immediate gratification and thrill-seeking. However, when combined, these traits can lead to particularly destructive behaviour. Now, when it comes to an initial attraction, psychopaths can be charming and charismatic. They often make a strong initial impression. They can use their charm to manipulate and control other people. They may lie frequently and convincingly, often using deception to create a facade that hides their true nature. Now, an example could be a friend, a partner, or a work colleague who is charismatic and persuasive, easily gaining the trust of others. However, beneath the charming exterior there lies a lack of genuine empathy and a willingness to throw other people under the bus for their own personal gain. There can be hasty, poorly thought out decisions that often put others at risk, and yet they remain indifferent to the potential consequences. Psychopaths tend to struggle to genuinely connect emotionally with other people. In relationships, they are often indifferent to their partner's feelings and their needs, but they can exploit their partner's emotions and vulnerabilities for their personal gain. In professional environments, psychopaths can thrive where manipulation and deceit can lead to success, such as corporate, maybe even a political setting. They may become skilled con artists using their charm and deceit to exploit individuals and institutions. They can rise to leadership positions due to their charisma and their ruthlessness, but their lack of empathy and ethical boundaries can lead to a toxic work environment and unethical decision-making. Quite often in positions of power, they might abuse their authority, engage in corrupt practices, and show a blatant disregard for the well-being of others. When co-occurring with Machiavellianism, they might well use their charm but the strategic thinking as well to get into positions of power or trust. However, their psychopathic traits often drive them to take extreme, sometimes unnecessary risks engage in corruption, and again show no remorse for their actions if their schemes backfire. Psychopathy comes under the umbrella term of antisocial personality, so what we might see are rule-breaking behaviours. They often disregard social norms and laws, engaging in behaviours that can be harmful to others. There is also a disruption of social harmony, creating chaos and conflict. They can sow discord in various environments for their own amusement or gain. Now, sadism and psychopathy can form a particularly dangerous combination. While psychopaths may be indifferent to other people's suffering, sadists actively seek to inflict pain. This combination can result in aggressive and harmful behaviour ranging from bullying to more severe acts of violence. But here I think we would see the cruel and sadistic behaviour more as a means to control and to dominate. It can be more of a means to an end than actually deriving pleasure. In various kinds of relationships, psychopathic people often seek to dominate others through manipulation, intimidation, sometimes even violence. They can isolate their partners from friends and family to maintain control and dependency. But just like with narcissism, initially they might seem charming and attentive, but they gradually reveal a controlling and manipulative nature. Typically, their relationships tend to be unstable, they may be unfaithful or engage in risky financial, illegal, sometimes even violent behaviour. They might frequently lie, cheat, but show no guilt or remorse whenever they're confronted. Because psychopaths typically don't feel remorse or guilt for their harmful actions, this often leads to repeated patterns of abusive behaviour. And lastly, people with psychopathic traits can be parasitical by nature, and this behaviour can be seen in various aspects of their lives, including their personal relationships, professional settings, even just broader social interactions. Because they can be exploitative, using others for their own gain, take credit for other people's ideas and achievements. And much like how a parasite offers nothing in return, they still depend on a host for survival. They can dump the host for a new one when there's nothing left to exploit. So to summarise, when the four traits of narcissism, psychopathy, Machiavellianism and sadism are combined, what we often see is someone who dominates. They dominate meetings, conversations, other people. They believe they are special, they believe they're entitled, so the rules don't apply to them. They are above the rules. And they believe they are justified in whatever they do. If things don't go their way, they might believe they are entitled and justified to react any way they see fit. They can be deceitful and manipulative. But whereas Machiavellians are typically more strategic and calculated in their approaches, psychopaths tend to be more impulsive and reckless, but they are still cunning. And they use other people to further their own agendas. They hurt and humiliate others either for their own pleasure or just to control them. Sometimes both. They can be reckless, impulsive, and they thrive off conflict and domination. They show no empathy or compassion for those they hurt. And in relationships, their behaviour can lead to emotional abuse, instability, and significant harm to their partners. In society, it can result sometimes in criminal behaviour, exploitation, the erosion of trust and ethical standards. That's a brief outline of psychopathy and how it co-occurs with the other elements of the Dark Tetrad. I'm Darren Magee, and if you find this to be interesting, please consider subscribing, and until next time, thanks for joining me.